So all of my seed orders have finally come in. All but one, actually. I had a problem this year with my biggest seed order, first time that's ever happened, and I've ordered from this company multiple times. So I have a total of, I think, 5 orders here. And before I placed any orders, I had to take inventory of the seeds that I had left over. Case in point, my seed box. This is where I keep all of my leftover seeds. Some seeds in here are 5 years old. They still germinate just fine. Over the years, I've gotten to know the couple of things that really don't last that long. Parsnips is a good one. Parsley is sometimes hit or miss. I've already started 2 varieties and one of them didn't come up at all, but the second one I had great germination with, and I'm pretty sure I bought both of them last year. This is what I have left over. Quite a few seed packets in there, but some of them I've moved into here. I have a lot of funny little systems. These are the seeds that I need to start within the next 2 weeks. I have my garden marker in here and my plant tags. I'm gonna need some more of those. And any seed packets that I don't empty go in the back for me to put back in my seed box unless I want to start another succession within the next couple of weeks. So those are all of my current seeds, most that I had left over. And actually some of my new seeds that I've already gotten this year, I have already started. But another thing that I did is I categorized all my old seeds. So I have 1 row for flowers, 1 row for vegetables, and this is multiple pages. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5 pages of old seeds so that instead of going through my box, I can have a look at a glance and everything is in alphabetical order so that I can see exactly what I have. So those are my old seeds. Now the first order that I placed was Johnny's Seeds. I always look forward to getting this catalog every year. It's fantastic. Now I am in Canada and Johnny's is in the US. So the exchange rate hurts a little bit and their shipping is also a little bit on the pricey side, even coming from a US company. But they have so many varieties and a lot of the specialty cut flower varieties especially. Pretty much all the veg I can get somewhere else. I can get somewhere in Canada, but there's a lot of the specialty cut flower varieties that I really love from Johnny's, and I usually will place 1 order. Problem with that though, was in December, when I wanted to place my order, because I like to plant early, in December the Canadian Postal Service went on strike. I think mid-November actually to mid-December, which was just horrendous timing. I'm sure any of you watching from Canada remember the Postal Service being shut down right before Christmas. Wasn't that fun? But the day it opened back up again, which was somewhere mid-month, I placed an order from Johnny's within a couple of days. I wanted to make sure that everything was working fine. And it didn't seem like the backlog was going to cause that much of an issue. Plus, I didn't need these seeds right away. I just wanted to get my hands on them before they all sold out, which is why I was ordering in December. So come January, and I hadn't heard from anything, I reached out to customer service. They provided me with a tracking number. And what ensued after that was my order bouncing around between 15 different, what were they called? Distribution centers, I think. I checked on the tracking every couple of days. It just kept going to different distribution centers around the northeast of the US. Eventually, they sent it back to Johnny's. They didn't tell me though. I reached out to customer service again after it hadn't been updated in a week and a half. And it was at that point they told me it had been returned to them, and I kindly asked for a refund, which they did. So that was really nice. And this was about a month ago, mid to late February, which was a full 2 months and a bit after initially placing my order. And just last week, which was a good few weeks after all this happened, I got a nice email from Johnny's. It looks like they sent it to a lot of Canadian consumers that this had affected, offering us a nice little discount for our next order that we placed, and a very heartfelt apology. So I felt that Johnny's handled that really well, and it's obviously not their fault. The postal system, Canada or US, is gonna do what they do, and once you mail your stuff, it's really out of your hands. So thanks Johnny's for that, and I appreciate the coupon code, which I hope I'll be able to place an order. It was not going to be this spring because I'm pretty much done. So at Johnny's, the main thing that I had bought were Lisianthus. So long story short, I'm not growing Lisianthus this year, which is a bummer. I wanted to order Lisianthus from Johnny's because they are the only place that have quantities that I needed. I don't want to buy packs that only have 25 seeds in them. I was looking for the 250 seed packs, which is what I got. I had baby pink, apricot, arena gold, mariachi pure white. I had 1,000 lisianthus seeds, which is enough. I don't need to grow a ton of those and devote a ton of space because they are really slow growing. So that was a bummer. I don't have lisianthus and I don't have eucalyptus. That I don't grow a ton of either, but I really wanted a few plants to overwinter. So that was the bulk of that order. I had also ordered 2 types of zinnias. One was ballerina and one was aurora. Unfortunately, ballerina I wasn't able to find anywhere else either. So this whole order that I placed at Johnny's was pretty much a waste. Now, when searching for ballerina seeds, I came across a brand new seed company that I'd never heard of, and that was called the Olive Seed Company. They are Canadian. They are in Edmonton, Alberta, and I found some lovely varieties. They did have the ballerina zinnia, but they were sold out. So what I ended up with was 6 types of zinnias. I had aurora and one more that I was really excited about, aurora and agave, which are both a bit of a sunset orange kind of tones of zinnia, which are really lovely. I then got Bennery's Giant Salmon Rose, Bennery's Giant Lilac, Peaches and Cream. I'm already forgetting what these look like, but I was enthralled by the photos on the website, so I'm sure they're lovely. And I don't remember ordering 2 of these, but apparently I got 2 Lilac Zinderella. And I've grown the Zinderella before, I think Zinderella Peach maybe, but I always love lilac. I also got Timeless Mix Ageratum. And this seems like it's quite a small company. She does a really good job at putting the details on the back of the seed packet too. So it tells us that they are an annual, plant in full sun, the depth of sowing the seeds, germination time, and temperature, which is great, their height and recommended spacing, and days to maturity, as well as a little bit of instructions on how to grow on the back. So first time ordering from them. I'm very happy though, and I will definitely be checking them out in the future for sure. My plan is always to source everything from Canadian companies, if at all possible. But when it comes to quantities, that's where I'll look elsewhere if need be. Now, before I had to cancel my Johnny's order because it was returned, that would be this one. I did make 2 other seed purchases, and one was from West Coast Seeds, which is on the opposite coast of Canada. I am on the East Coast, and this is in British Columbia, which is our westernmost province. And I ordered from there because I wanted Red Robin tomato seeds. And the Red Robin tomato is a tiny little dwarf plant. It gets about 12 inches tall. I grew it last year. It was so compact. I wanted to try it out later in the fall to see if I could have plants in the greenhouse that I then bring indoors to see if we can actually get tomatoes through the early part of the winter. So I have started most of the seeds, but I've held a few back for that trial later this year. I also got some Thai Silk Formula California poppies. I love growing these in just to fill in space in between things. I got more Queen Lime Red zinnias, 100 of those, because you can never have enough zinnias, clearly. I got a mixed pack of Status, which I didn't really need more of, but I got some more anyway. And this is a marigold. It's called Sugar and Spice. It's a pale, pale yellow type of marigold. I grew a similar color last year, but it succumbed to disease and started to die off really, really quickly. So I'm looking for a few different varieties. I love the color, but I'm looking for some more varieties. If this is something you've grown and had great success with, please let me know, because I love marigolds as cut flowers, not necessarily the big bright orange ones, but the pale yellow really does appeal to the color palettes that I like to put together. So there's West Coast Seeds, not a very big order, but it is Canadian. I didn't have to worry about the exchange rate, and the shipping was $9. So $9 Canadian versus 25 US stings a lot less. It's a bit much for 5 seed packets. Yeah, that's all I ordered, but still, so that order came in under $50. The next one was Stems Flower Farm. Now this was my big one. Stems Flower Farm is also in Canada. I believe it's Ontario. Yeah, and geographically that's not too far. I usually get an order within a week, and that's after they ship. They're a family-owned company, so when they get a big influx of orders right away, it might take a week or two for them to ship things out. But I take that into consideration when I'm ordering, and I like to do things early enough that that doesn't cause any issues. So from Stems Flower Farm, I ordered quite a bit of Status. I got Apricot Beauty, QIS Rose. I'm so annoyed with my printer right now because I'm trying to remember what colors these are and my pictures look like this. I got Cinnamon Basil. I got Apricotta Cosmos. There are many pages to this order. I got Celosia Selway Formula Mix. I did not grow enough celosia last year, and that made me sad, so I'm getting so much more of that this year. It's just such a fantastic filler, and it looks gorgeous in the garden too. I got Feverfew Cameron. I've grown many types of Feverfew, but this is just a nice single daisy-like filler, so I'm excited for that one. It is already up and growing because I had to start that early. More Queen Lime Red Zinnias. I got some from there too. Yarrow, the Pearl. This is not your typical yarrow. This looks a little bit more like a baby's breath, but it's a yarrow and it's supposed to be perennial. This is also up and growing already. Then I got quite a bit of stock as well. I got stock Champagne. The rest of it must be at the end. I got more Celosia Ruby Parfait, Status QIS Dark Blue, Status QIS Pastel Mix, Amaranth Cascade Mix. I've never grown the cascading amaranth before. It hangs down. This one might just be for fun. I got an annual type of phlox called Flocks of Sheep, and I'll be honest, the name totally sold me on that one, but it's a nice mix of colors too. Then we have Amaranth Velvet Curtains and another Celosia Pampas Plume Mix. That's a classic. I got decorative grass called Northern Sea Oats, but the germination is kind of terrible. I might only have a dozen of those, so they might be just for fun. Then I got a Didiscus, or lace flower in Lacy Pink. And I actually have the blue from last year, so I'm going to be growing both of those this year because I didn't end up planting that one. Another zinnia, what a surprise. Bright Pink, that's a Benary's Giant Bright Pink. And was that it? I think I missed a page. I did miss a page. There's the rest of my stock. This last page is all stock. We have Pacific Crimson, Stocks Silver, Anytime Sea Blue, Iron Marine, and Buttercream. And I always grow Buttercream. I have a bunch of leftover seed that I started first. And stock really needs to grow in the cooler early spring. So whatever I haven't started, I will be starting within the next 2 days. I have 300 to 400 growing right now, and I'll be starting another roughly 500. And I think that is going to be pushing it a little bit late, but hopefully we will still get blooms off of those. So the total for my Stems Flower Farm order was just shy of $200, but that's 200 Canadian. The Johnny's was about 150 that ended up being 200 with the exchange rate. And Johnny's was 8 or 9 seed packets maybe. This is many. This is many. And the other thing that I love about Stems Flower Farm is they also put the instructions on the back of the seed packet. There is a lot of info back there, and also their seed packets are gorgeous. This one is Rat Tail Status. This just happens to be a seed packet that was right on top of my pile there. This is one that I ordered in the fall. I think they do a seed sale in the fall, and I like to pick up a few things just to get on top of things for the next year. So these are one of the ones that I grew in the fall. The Rat Tail Status, I remember this now. They put extra on sale because it was a little bit under the what they like to have for a germination rate. So I think I picked up 4 or 5 of these seed packets. I grew 1 seed packet last year. It was gorgeous, but didn't get big enough for my liking. So I'm going to put it in better soil and see if I can get better results on that, because the pictures, unfortunate name, Rat Tail Status, but the photos are gorgeous. So the West Coast Seeds and Stems Flower Farm I ordered on top of my Johnny's order. And then when that got canceled and I had a $200 refund, well, I needed to spend that elsewhere, clearly. So at that point, the only thing that I had not purchased yet was my sunflower seeds. And these I also need in fairly large quantities. I already had leftover from last year. The seed list is so long, I'm losing things. Sunflowers, yes. So leftover sunflower seed I had were Pro Cut White Night and Pro Cut Gold Light. Oh, also some ProCut Horizon, which I did buy more of. And I have 2 seed packets still left from Sunflower Steve's Van Gogh mix that I ordered last year, which is great. This time, since I wasn't going to order from Johnny's again, I went right to the source. Sunflower Selections is also American, but they are the original breeders of the ProCut varieties. So I got 500 seeds each of ProCut Horizon. I got ProCut Peach, which was a new one to me. I love these packets. They are definitely moisture proof, at least they appear to be that way, and they look like they're resealable too, which is great. And the third one was ProCut White Light. Yeah, I had White Night, which is white petals, dark center. White Light is white petals with a white creamy yellow center. So I should have 500 each in here, 1,500 new sunflower seeds, and at least 1,000 left over. So I should be good for sunflower seeds now for this year. Now this was an American company, but still the price was very reasonable. This was 66 US. I cannot remember what it ended up being in Canadian dollars. But when Johnny's order was canceled, I ended up taking that nearly $200 that was refunded to me and spending it at Sunflower Selections and also at the Olive Seed Company, the new one. Those 2 orders together, which ended up being way more seeds than I ordered from Johnny's, and it was $30 less. I remember doing that math at the time. So that was a big win, and I would have had to buy my sunflower seeds on top of that. So that was multiple packs of zinnias, all my sunflowers, and we just went over it. I've already forgotten what else. But those are my main seed hauls for this year. Starting with the stems, Flower Farm, that big order, the West Coast Seeds, Olive Seed Company, which were all Canadian, and my American Sunflower Selections. So I will likely order from Johnny's in the future. And there are a lot of other Canadian seed companies that I could use. And I'm gonna take the time to look into seeing if I can find more variety, or not variety, more quantity of Lisiantha seed somewhere in Canada, because that is the big one that I had been looking at Johnny's for. So I still do pick up some seed packets locally. Sometimes I have sweet peas and nasturtiums that I just grabbed from the farm market the other day when I went in there for eggs. And these are for my kids' school gardens. These though come from Halifax Seed, which is fairly local. Halifax is about 45 minutes from here. I happen to have a catalog right there. That's a great place if you are in the central Nova Scotia area. A little bit further in Eastern Canada is Vessey's. This is bulbs, but they ship seeds. I often get dahlia tubers from Vessey's. I sometimes get spring bulbs, lilies, things like that. They always have these deals. You see on the bottom of this catalog, they tend to have these deals a few times a year, free shipping or a pretty giant deduction if you spend over a certain amount. Forgot to mention they ship out of PEI, Prince Edward Island, which is pretty close to us. And then we have Johnny's. Another great Canadian place that's sometimes overlooked is Richter's Herbs. They have a ton of really interesting specialty things. A lot of herbs, a lot of decorative things, a lot of seeds, and if you live nearby to the Ontario, Canada area, there's a lot of plants that they'll ship out, live plants, and you can do a local pickup area as well. So look up Richter's Herbs if you are in Canada, especially Ontario. And most of my spring bulbs, my tulips and daffodils and things like that, I order wholesale from Van Noort. And even though it is only March, I'm going to be putting my order in the next 2 weeks in for my bulbs that will be shipping in October, maybe September or October. They won't charge until they actually ship them, but I have to put the order in now, which is going to be, I think, 6 months. Yeah, 6 or even 7 months before they ship, I'll be putting my order in for Van Noort. So that is generally how I fund my garden this year. If you've been keeping track, you'll know pretty much exactly what I spent on seeds this year. My wholesale bulb order is upwards of $2,000, give or take. but I grow a lot of things and I make a lot of income off my garden too. So if that's something you're curious to know more of, let me know. I don't mind breaking down the finances of what I spend for the market garden part and then what kind of income that I get for that. So there is my seed order summary for the year, and the next step is to plant it all. Easier said than done, but I have a solid plan this year. Now this was all flowers. I have a ton of vegetable seeds. Most of those are leftovers though, and most of my vegetables I'm going to be growing at the local elementary school gardens this year because they need a lot of help maintaining those gardens and filling them up. So I'll be spending a large amount of time over there this coming year and keeping almost all of my home growing space to flowers. So that's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be a big job, but I'm happy to have you all along for the ride. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time.